Who would have thought?
I'm going to ask you, begin this live with a trivia now, and you have to tell me, okay?
Okay.
When was the last time India had lost 5 wickets inside 50 runs in a home test?
The closest it takes me back to was two instances: 2010 India versus New Zealand in Ahmedabad,
Second
15
innings.
for 5. Yeah,
Okay.
but first innings, if you have to look at it, India versus New Zealand again, Mohali, 1999. It has been your worst start. I think you got bundled out for 84. New Zealand then made a total of 400. Then Dravid hit a century of 144 in the second innings, and because of that, this time in 2024. India are 34 for 6.
Well, you are wrong, my friend. Finally, I am 1-0 up over you. The last time it happened was against Sri Lanka at Eden Gardens in 2017. India were 50 for 5.
50 for 5, but then
Yes.
but it doesn't satisfy your criteria, na? You said less than 50.
Less than equal to 50.
Ah, that is then your mistake. That is then your mistake. But then look at what happened. 34 for 6. KL Rahul gone for 0. Ravindra Jadeja gone for 0. Yashasvi Jaiswal showing a bit of discipline. But then he had that slash outside the off stump, and you just had another good catch from Ajaz Patel. I mean, New Zealand's catching and fielding has been simply
Impeccable,
magnificent.
actually. Impeccable.
Exactly. So it is a really good situation that New Zealand find themselves in. But understand one thing: if the pitch is like this for the New Zealand Pacers, the Indian bowlers, the pace bowlers in particular, can also trouble the New Zealand top order when you look at it.
Will India be able to get to 100?
See, you got Ashwin now coming. Ashwin and Pant.
Tata.
Yes, I mean, believe in Nash, Anna, because see, Ashwin in tough conditions has shown that he's got a very good defense. He's got a good technique, and let's see if he can just get going at this stage. India can get past 100, but I somehow feel that they might, if they get past 150, 200, it'll be a great feat. So, India are standing right down the barrel because unfortunately today you've got only Ashwin. There is Kuldeep later on, but Kuldeep can hang in. He's not much of a, you may say, rotating of strike and aggressive intent and all that. You don't associate with Kuldeep here. Now, unfortunately, if you look at the mode of dismissals also for all the 6, let's just analyze each of the dismissals, okay? Rohit Sharma came down the track.
Yeah.
But then Saudi got the delivery to cut back in. Obviously, there is a big technical flaw in Rohit Sharma. He's never improved that for 17 years. So then he just got it in. Rohit bowled.
But
Top
bit
of the stumps.
Bit of an anxiety also to you break the shackles and maybe make sure you put the pressure back on New Zealand. To be very honest, what I assumed of what I thought of that dismissal was that shot wasn't really required. I think he could have probably waited for a few more overs before deciding to play a big shot or something like that. But then I think for Rohit Sharma, once again his struggles against the moving ball have just gotten worse.
Yeah, and let's look at the second dismissal, Virat Kohli. I mean, that was a delivery that maybe you couldn't do much about. I mean, Will O'Rourke, the height that he has, the pace that he has, got from a good length delivery to climb up. Kohli fended at it, got a catch at leg gully. First duck for Virat Kohli in India after 2021.
Yeah.
And now his number 3 average. Sorry, he's gotten most of his runs at number 4. There is a reason. Number 3, he's really struggled. So
Only
Virat
97 runs at number
97
3.
runs at 16. Yeah. Prior to that it was 19. Now it hasn't changed. It's now gone to 16. So that's why big problems then for Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. The Roko Jodi gone for 2 and 0 respectively. Then you had Rishabh Pant and Yashasvi Jaiswal come in. For a brief period, you felt Sarfaraz Khan. Of course, how could you forget Sarfaraz Khan? Sarfaraz Khan chipped a delivery. You just Devon Conway took a fantastic catch at mid-off. So Sarfaraz also
only has himself to blame for that.
Yeah.
Shot. I think it was not really required for him to play that shot. Could have really bided his time before going for it. But I think these things really happen with batters when you really want to put the pressure back on the opposition. And I think with New Zealand getting those early wickets, Sarfaraz would have thought that okay, if I get a couple of loose deliveries, maybe let me just try and smash it them to the boundary and see if New Zealand get under pressure. Will they change their line and lengths or not? I think just too early could have once again waited, because no matter how much we talk about Test cricket changing. The baseball approach or row ball approach, I think sometimes it's about respecting the conditions, which to be very honest I did not think that the Indian batters did really well.
They didn't. And see, let's not, we'll come to the major point of discussion after that. So, then after that, Jaiswal and Pant had a partnership. Jaiswal looked good, but the commentators, someone was saying that he was showing good discipline, but then slashed the delivery, and Ajaz Patel took a good catch at Gully. And that is one area where Jaiswal will have to be really careful in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So that is a big problem that he's facing. Then after that, two bad dismissals. KL Rahul, he was hit on the finger by one rising delivery, and then he was looking very uncomfortable, out for a duck. Jadeja also unable to cope up with the conditions, even he was also gone for a duck. So 34 for 6. Can you imagine, the first boundary came in the 13th over. After the resumption, Rishabh Pant hit a wide delivery from Will O'Rourke to the boundary, and that's why India will have only themselves to blame. And very unpopular opinion that I'm going to say out here, the pitch and the conditions were only partly to blame. It was the technical mindset of the batters that resulted in this particular situation. Now, that draws me back to Rohit's decision at the toss. Many people are now debating upon this and are panning Rohit Sharma for this. Rohit Sharma's decision at the toss. Even you said it was a bad decision.
True.
But I have another theory to that.
Okay.
Rohit's decision was let down by his own batters, even including himself, of not applying themselves to the condition.
And I don't disagree.
Because I'll give you one example. Rishabh Pant. Look at, okay, he's getting beaten. Of course, there are some deliveries in the Goodland channel by which you would get beaten. But then Pant is hanging in there. And of course, it could have very well been 34 for 7 or 34 for 8. Pant, that catch was dropped by Tom Blundell. Had that happened, India would not even have crossed 100. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
But he is there. Now, the pitch and the overhead conditions had very little to do with each dismissal, barring maybe a KL Rahul and a Virat Kohli to a certain extent.
True.
But even there, the fault lies with the batsman. I mean, they could have played it with softer hands. Pujara, for example, if he had gotten a similar rising delivery, he could have just played it with softer hands. But with Kohli, he just couldn't do it.
And same is the case with Ravindra Jadeja also. I think he got that leading edge
on the
last ball of the before the lunch basically. I think it wasn't really required. He just tried to tuck it to square leg, but then he was too early onto the shot. So maybe I think is it just about the pace of the pitch? Maybe the ball is not really coming onto the bat, or maybe it's just that the Indian batters have failed to apply themselves. I think it's a combination of both.
See, Rohit's decision at the toss, I thought honestly made sense for one reason. Like, supposing if it was 34 for no loss, supposing it was 50 for no loss, you apply yourself, you put pressure on New Zealand on a wicket which might crumble later on, because see, once you have this much of excess movement, there's a bit of a sun also that came out. The pitch dried out pretty quickly and you got some movement of the deck as well. So that is an indication that the pitch could crumble if there is more action. So we are seeing a result-oriented wicket at this stage in time at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. But the worst part is, every shot, what I'm about to highlight here, Rohit, Jaiswal, you may say Sarfaraz,
even Ravindra
Jadeja, all 4 of those dismissals, 4 out of 6, meaning close to 80%, were all bad shot decision making.
Exactly.
They did not respect the conditions. You have to respect the conditions. And see, look at the context of what happened in 2002 also. Much more tougher conditions.
Yes.
Overhead, it was far more. Even 2014 Lords, green pitch. But batsmen respected the conditions. Here you didn't respect the conditions. Your shots, you were too audacious about it. And that's why Rohit's decision, which may have seemed good, was let down by his own batters at that stage.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, look at it, Jaiswal, short and wide delivery. And let me be very honest about you, the kind of shots that you were playing, the pitch seemed to have eased out.
Exactly.
After the sun came out.
Exactly.
There was no cloud cover as such. So that's why that is what I look at. But what is your take on it?
I think, in a way, first of all, it's becoming a trend now. you get some testing conditions and your top order doesn't really get those big runs, and so is the case with middle order. And if I have to give any previous example, it has to be the India versus Bangladesh test in Chepauk. Therein also you were 144 for 6, just 100 runs more than what you currently have, 110 runs. But then you were rescued by R Ashwin. He played a good innings, and obviously conditions did ease out towards the later part of the day on day one of that Chepauk test. But then I think I personally feel that it's not more in the mind. I think it's more about a technical glitch that the players, they refuse to admit, or at the very same time they refuse to correct, because now this is not just a one-off. Had this been just a one-off instance, I would have not really, said that it's more of disappointing stuff, or it's more of a stuff wherein you want to panic a bit. But now you have seen it happen over the years. It's happened in the WTC final of 2021. It happened in WTC final 2023. Then obviously you've done well in the overseas conditions wherein you have got those big runs and the wickets also. But what is really surprising to me is that the necessary course correction that should have happened a long time ago, it has not really happened. So I think it's let me just quote you an example of that. When you toured England in 2021, what is the best thing that both Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul did when they opened the innings there? Your bat was very much close to your body, and that helped you negate the swing that the likes of Anderson and Broad were bringing in on offer for England. This is where I think the Indian batters are not really doing that. Your bat is not really close to your body, which is basically allowing for the edges to fly, or at the very same time New Zealand batters to cash in upon that opportunity of bowling in on the fourth stump or the fifth stump.
Okay. So that is the current situation that we have got a 40-minute lunch break at this stage. Okay. Now after that there will be an extended second session. There will be an extended third session also. So it is not looking good for India. But again, I can understand the criticism that the family members are giving. Okay. Agreed that it's there. But then wait for the second innings also. Judge the page, judge the batting, judge everything on a very consistent basis at this stage. So that is the current situation we have. So it is not going to be a big situation in that way. So that we will just ensure that we take all your comments, because it's a long session. But I would at least want one thing to our family members to understand that decisions, if suppose India goes on to win the test match, then you will be the same guys who will jump onto the bandwagon and say, oh, what a masterstroke by Rohit Sharma. Lesson number one, always judge a decision after the end of the match has happened. If India loses, go ahead and criticize.
True.
Go ahead and criticize in such a way that yes, they are made to witness hell. Okay. Absolutely, at this stage now, in hindsight, it may seem like a bad decision, but you don't know. In the second innings, what happens then? Okay. So it is going to be very, very difficult to understand how India can fight back at this stage.
Exactly.
So, India can fight back. The bowlers are the two pace bowlers, Siraj and Bumrah. So in that sense, when you look at it, it is going to be fantastic to see the contest develop. Because even New Zealand can be 50 for 5 or 50 for 6 at this stage. So the problem that I look at it is how much India can muster. If suppose wickets fall in clusters, then I think there is something in the pitch for all.
And that's what we saw in the Dulip Trophy also, because the matches that were held in Dulip Trophy before they obviously moved to Anantapur, the pitch had a green tinge to it, and that's where I think the pacers proved to be more than handy. I remember Yash Dayal, bowling those effective spells also. So I think India, what they really need to try and do here is that just try to maybe get to the mark of 150 or 200, because that will obviously give you some kind of a psychological advantage. But then if New Zealand are able to bundle out India for under 100, I think it's going to be alarm bells. I think it's going to be panic in India's dressing room, because if you get bowled out for under 100, even if New Zealand get to 150, 200, that extra cushion of 50 runs or 100 runs, that always comes to bite the team that did not do well in the first innings.
Well, now if you have to look at it, the team composition then will be key, because New Zealand are playing with 3 pacers. India just have 2 pacers. 2 out and out pacers though, and 3 spinners. Have they done a faux pas like what happened at Lord's, when they played 3 spinners on an absolute green deck?
Yeah.
when it was not needed. So I can see two things here. One, if the partnership between Pant and Ashwin prospers, and if India get to 150, then I think you may be okay with the situation.
Yeah.
Now, certain people are writing, Kiran Khatri says, they wanted to practice for WTC final because that's the conditions you will get there. But will they make it? Kiran Khatri will be doing a video on that. But again, don't be in that thing that, oh, are you preparing for Lords? The condition at Lords is not going to be anywhere similar to what you're seeing here because Lords is a flat deck. And initially, there will be a bit of early help, say on day one, but then after that, the movement and everything just dies down. And because of that, you have to understand that Lords is a totally different thing. And once again, our players, they'll have to go to the WTC final on the back of no red ball cricket.
Because the last red ball match that India would have played ahead of a possible WTC final
January
would be in
7th.
January.
That's the problem. So that is why, looking at how this has happened, I would just say one thing. Understand that you're not preparing for a WTC final. Your WTC final is still 6 tests away. 7 tests away rather. So best piece is saying playing 3 spinners, right decision. We'll come to know only in the second innings. Then.
Yeah, GGK has a comment that
No. I'm not taking.
we're still
GGK.
winning this test.
Yeah, we may win it. We may win it. I was going to take it up much later because I want to know that optimism, super optimism can work only once in a blue moon, like how it luckily worked for him in June 29th. But otherwise, if we are still flying on a high, I just want to know where other people are at this stage. So, that's no problem. Okay. Rahul Java, how much tolerance for care? Bad situation, a difficult situation. And Sarfaraz, who looks bad, picked ahead of Jurel, who won England series, is mindless. But Rahul Java, in similar conditions, in Centurion, Rahul had gotten you a ton.
True.
In other difficult situations in England, he had gotten you a ton.
At Lords,
He had gotten you a ton. He won you that game. Now, just basis of that 1-0 and that too, if you look at it, he got a good ball. But then, okay, his technical things should have been better. But yes, KL Rahul, his knock today or lack of a score, the detractors will be there. They're not going to go away. Rahul needed to step up here. He didn't step up. So that's why it's a big problem that you're seeing. Now, I think, one more super chat which had come. I think it was Daniel M who had done that super chat. Right here. Yeah. So Daniel M is saying, Tim Payne, who bottled Ashes, where Smith scored 700 pluses, won't be there to help India this time. And Cummins and co will be extra desperate.
Australia are under, they are under desperation to win against India because they know that if they lose to India for 3rd time in a row at home, then it's going to be plenty changes for them.
I know. I mean, see, the only team in the modern era that's beaten them 3 times in the
South
modern
Africa.
Era, South Africa, 2008, 12, 16. And it did provoke a lot of changes in Australia. Then now, let's see if Australia can suffer the same fate against India. But again, remember, people are saying, oh, we may win final against Australia. I mean, are Australia, Zimbabwe? Honestly, I mean, that's the first indication I will never give. That's the first prediction I will never give. India winning final in Australia. Never in a million years it's happening in that sense. So even Australia have never whitewashed India here. That's never happened. I mean, home whitewashers is very, very rare. So in that sense, see, Cummins is desperate. Australia are desperate because even they also have to win. They are also not in a good position in the World Test Championship because they have to win versus India, but they've got 2 tests away to Sri Lanka. Now that is a huge tricky, that's a banana peel for Australia.
The only thing that we can tell you is that if Australia somehow, if they only win 2 or less than 2 match or only 1 match against India, then they are in a big spot of bother against Sri Lanka.
They are the only team now who looks very good to reach the WTC final at this stage, who's got a rather easier path is South Africa. But again, South Africa have a banana peel in Bangladesh.
True.
Plus, they are going to play 2 home
Sri Lanka and Pakistan.
So I think South Africa would have finished their entire away summer. Because with Bangladesh, they would have finished their entire away summer. So in that way, when you look at it, freaking awesome. Since Ganguly's era, we have been struggling against New Zealand bowling attack more than any other attack consistently. Hope for Eden Gardens World Cup 2023 semi-final like condition and assisted both pace and spin. Really, 2023 semi-final did assist pace and spin both. I thought it was an absolute road. It was an absolute road. It needed some good catching to ensure that yes, you went through to the final in that sense. Austin Kuna saying Rohit's decision to bat first could be one of the worst decisions by an Indian captain. It was obvious. This could cost us WTC. Well, again, Austin, I would say,
See,
hold your
it
horses.
surprised me, this decision, but obviously I'm going to hold my horses because in such conditions, it made sense to bowl first here. And India batting first, it didn't look to be the most smartest.
I mean, I thought if the batters had applied themselves much better, this decision was spot on. But then again, Austin, hold your horses, please. Rule number one, this is just the first day. I mean, yeah, day one was washed out, but it's the first day. We don't know how the situation will pan out in the remainder of the test match, with rain also predicted on all the 3 days.
True.
So that is why it is just sensible enough to hold your horses, ensure you don't jump the gun. Otherwise, then you'll only be proven wrong at a very simple thing. So,
take maybe one last comment.
Yeah, maybe one. What happened to Kohli? Best piece. Well, Kohli got a good delivery, and his lean patch continues. Unfortunately, so it's not looking good. Unfortunately for Virat Kohli, but then he might bounce back. He could bounce back. So how is that going to pan out? Let's see. A lot of comments. I mean, people are really, really angry. Piyush Nandre is saying India served 4 ducks in lunch to New Zealand. This is our culture. Atithi Devo Bhava. After lunch, 70-80 runs partnership between Ashwin and Pant is on the way. Maybe it could happen. But again, New Zealand may not be like Bangladesh. Bangladesh allowed the momentum to slip.
New Zealand still has very street smart cricketing team in comparison to Bangladesh.
Yeah. Will this be the same tomorrow too? I mean, if this is the situation, I would say, yeah, it might be. Who can change Rohit's mind? What happened since England Test Series? Where is that grinding nature? Where he's done well? Since as a fan, I'm furious.
This is one of the things that I think I pointed earlier also, that you need to keep your bat close to the body. Obviously, I am no cricketer. I cannot teach anyone to,
No former Test cricketer, isn't
yeah, we do have a former Test cricketer who is on off today. But then I think this is the philosophy that India followed in England.
Yeah.
In the swinging conditions, what's the one thing that both Rahul and Rohit did well? Your bat was close to your body.
Yeah. Sir Chandra, I will just say stop being a fan. I will just say that if you want to analyze the game, if you want to see the game holistically, stop being a fan of any player or any team. It allows you a 360-degree view if you have that kind of a mindset. Trust me, it works. I honestly tell you it works. BB John, if this happened to India in their own ground, what can we expect for them when they go for BGT series in Australia?
I think Australia are going to, prepare pitches accordingly now. I think something that happened in 2011 also, na, wherein India got blanked 4-0. Australia are going to be very ready this time for each and every India player, for almost everyone. See, you probably cannot have a cheat code for someone like a Rishabh Pant or a Jasprit Bumrah, but then I think Australia would know that there are still other nine other members in the team also. I think Australia would be ready for all of them.
They have to first tackle the Indian bowlers because they are the ones who have been winning you games outside of the subcontinent for a very long time now. So, in that sense, Priyanshu is saying bat KL at 3. Let Virat bat at his usual position on number 4. We might win even from here due to bowling. But batting first here was a blunder. Okay. I guess that's the case. So
and teach them that we will join post-match with full
of
team
course,
with Nikhil sir, Harshit bhai. And
all right. So
from the studio.
I think the match might resume in the next 12 minutes or so. I think they have reduced the lunch break also, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, we will be back, and don't forget in our post-match show, which will happen at 5:15 p.m. IST. We will have a full panel wherein we will discuss everything that has gone wrong or right with the Indian cricket team today on day 2. Nikhil, Harshit, me, Sid Gulati will all be there. It will be a comprehensive analysis of what has happened on day 2 of the test match. So do join us for that. Meanwhile, more videos are coming your way from Sports Today. From me and Sid Gulati, it's bye-bye. Tap that bell icon, subscribe so that you know that you are getting these videos and analysis. We are doing all this for our family members. Subscribe, please, and join us soon for what might be India getting all out.
So India getting a partnership.
So let's hope. So bye-bye. See you from me and Sid Gulati. See you soon.